Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Soul Land 2 Part 209 based on novel. So let's start. Xiao Xiao waved her 9 phoenix worshipping flute, and her 7 soul rings were drawn by the motion of the flute, and contracted before falling onto it. Ji Juechen, who was standing opposite her, unsheathed his judgment sword. Just as he had said, he would not go easy on his opponents because of their gender. Ji Juechen revealed a determined look on his face as he wielded his sword with both hands. As he pointed the tip of the sword to the ground, he was able to conceal his aura. At that very instant, everyone could sense that his life energy had disappeared. Even though he was standing right in front of them, it was as if he was not there at all. Even Hui Yuhao, who possessed incredibly powerful spiritual energy, could not detect him. Even though they were not able to sense his presence, they could sense the energy from his sword. The judgment sword might not be reflecting any light, but it gave off the impression of a volcano that was about to erupt at any moment. Xiao Xiao had never once sparred with Ji Juechen. This time, she finally experienced the immense pressure that one would have to face by standing before this sword fanatic. No wonder no one wanted to spar with him. His sword intent was simply out of this world. Before making her move, Xiao Xiao already felt as though her entire person was imprisoned within a huge sword. And within the huge sword, there seemed to be hundreds and thousands of smaller swords which threatened to shred her to pieces. What a powerful sword intent! Is this how it feels to go up against the sword of the sword fanatic? At that instant, Xiao Xiao emanated a mysterious glow. Her small figure suddenly gave off an impressive aura which resembled that of a humongous mountain. At that moment, it seemed as though her body could decide the fate of her country. Even Ji Juechen's incredibly powerful sword intent was shattered when it reached a distance of 10 meters from her. Xiao Xiao's body was enveloped by a black glow which contained countless runes. Ji Juechen almost lost his balance after his sword intent was shattered. His face twitched a little after realizing what had just happened. He was seldom caught off guard, even when he faced Hui Yuhao. He had toned down his sword intent, and no longer released it overtly. Yes, Xiao Xiao had actually won their opening battle, in which Ji Juechen had pitted his sword intent against her aura. Xiao Xiao's aura could only be described as overwhelming. It could overwhelm people, and even overwhelm the destiny and aura of a country. That was the power of the cauldron. The true cauldron could suppress and overwhelm any aura. Hence, regardless of how powerful the opponent's aura was, there was only one possible outcome. Their aura would be overwhelmed and suppressed by the cauldron. Hence, Xiao Xiao was near invincible when it came to comparing the strength of one's aura. That was the mystical power of the 3-live Soul Crush cauldron. Despite releasing her 9 phoenix worshipping flute, Xiao Xiao used the power of her 3-live Soul Crush cauldron. This showed that she had developed incredible control over 2 martial souls. At this very instant, her eyes brightened like shiny stars as she released a frightening amount of spiritual power. Just when Ji Juechen was trying to find his balance, she started blowing her 9 phoenix worshipping flute. A sad but melodic tune started to emerge from the end of her flute. The air around them started to become very viscous. The first soul ring on Xiao Xiao's flute started to sparkle as its glow pulsed. The viscous air appeared to have been saturated by boundless fluid. Even the people who were spectating from the outside felt weighed down by the heavy air around them. Delay. It was the first technique of the 9 phoenix worshipping flute. Even though it was exactly the same technique, its power was already completely different from what it was the last time she had showed it to the group. Back then, when Xiao Xiao executed this skill against her opponent, it could only slightly delay her opponent's movements. But now, her soul skill was actually capable of making people struggle to move. Ji Juechen stood there without moving. His aura might have been suppressed by Xiao Xiao previously, but he chose not to move even when he was up against her delay. Since he was not moving, the soul skill did not affect him much. Xiao Xiao's eyes remained focused on Ji Juechen as she changed the flute's melody. The melancholic tune suddenly became gentle and bright. As the new tune emerged from the flute, one could see ripples of jade green light emanating from Xiao Xiao's body. These ripples were like circles of thread which expanded towards Ji Juechen as they attempted to entangle him. Initially, they appeared to just be circles of light, but when they got closer to Ji Juechen, they suddenly solidified to become material. They seemed to be like rings which were trying to bind and trap him. Nonetheless, Ji Juechen chose to stay where he was. But just when the rings were about to ensnare him, they shattered to bits and pieces and fell to the ground. They were unable to restrict him at all. The 9 Phoenix worshipping flute second soul skill, Binding Ring. This soul skill could be executed in a simple or complex fashion. It possessed a powerful binding ability, but its powers seemed to have lost their effect when they came into contact with Ji Juechen's sword intent. Xiao Xiao's face did not reveal any emotional change after witnessing the disintegration of her binding rings. She carried on with her flute playing as more rings started to gravitate towards Ji Juechen. Other than this, she did not seem to be casting any other soul skill. It appeared that she was hoping to drag the battle on in this manner. After witnessing what Xiao Xiao was doing, Hui Yuhao nodded from the side of the sparring area. Xiao Xiao's strategy was sound. By suppressing Ji Juechen's aura with her advantage right from the start, Ji Juechen was unable to increase the power and range of his aura. Aura was an extremely important component within Ji Juechen's sword intent. If his aura were to be increased to its maximum, his attack would become incredibly piercing and penetrating. What Xiao Xiao was doing now was dragging out the battle to expend his soul power and determination. It was important to note that Xiao Xiao's soul power was not weaker than Ji Juechen's. Even though Ji Juechen was almost at rank 90, his martial soul was just a normal martial soul. He had only become strong because of his unique understanding of sword intent and the Judgment Sword, a powerful Class 8 soul tool, which he wielded. Compared to Ji Juechen, Xiao Xiao possessed twin martial souls. Her second martial soul had 7 rings, and that would only strengthen her first martial soul. Even though her total amount of soul power might be less than Ji Juechen's, it was only slightly less. Besides, the possession of a strong martial soul would allow a soul master to recover more quickly. When it came to this, Xiao Xiao definitely had an advantage. Hence, even though it seemed unwise for her to drag the battle out, it was actually a good move. Ji Juechen had no chance to showcase the explosiveness of his sword intent. If he were to force his sword intent towards Xiao Xiao, he would expose himself to her attacks. In fact, as of now, Xiao Xiao did not have any flaws or gaps which he could take advantage of. Hence, Ji Juechen seemed to be at a disadvantage currently. As their battle wore on, everyone held their breath as they waited for the next event to unfold. Ji Juechen's soul rings were unspectacular, they were just the ordinary soul rings. Nonetheless, he seemed very calm and collected as he stood still where he was. It was as though there was nothing in this world which he needed to be concerned about. Even though Xiao Xiao looked like a girl who would be flustered easily, she was similarly calm and collected. She might not appear to have frozen still like Ji Juechen, but she was still very stable and relaxed, as though everything was under her control. She continued to apply pressure on Ji Juechen, keeping him from releasing his aura. Bei Bei, He Kai-tu, and Shu Sancha revealed expressions of disbelief. They were certain that they might not be able to face Ji Juechen with this amount of composure. Xiao Xiao, have you really become this strong? Jiang Nan Nan clenched her fists as she rooted for Xiao Xiao in her heart. She was especially happy to see her showcase her true abilities. Very quickly, 5 minutes passed. Both of them were still in their original positions. If they were to continue in this fashion, it would probably take close to a day before they would finish expending all of their soul power. Ji Juechen frowned as he looked at the situation before him. This was not the feeling he wanted. He would have preferred his opponent to pressure him directly. Instead, Xiao Xiao was using her binding rings to harass him. He felt as though he was sinking into a marsh instead of fighting a fearsome battle. However, he was unable to detect any flaws or gaps in his opponent's defense. If he were to strike haphazardly, he would expose himself to her. However, he knew it was definitely disadvantageous for him to drag the battle on like this. If there's no gap or hole in your defense, I shall find one, or even create one. So what if there's a hole in my defense? Let's see who will strike first. After making up his mind, Ji Juechen suddenly took a step forward with his left foot before stamping violently on the ground. The silence stopped instantly as an unbelievably sharp sword intent formed from Ji Juechen's body. The sword intent was greyish-black, and its sudden appearance shattered all of the binding rings which had just been released by the Nine Phoenix worshipping flute. That powerful sword intent flew away from Ji Juechen and zoomed towards Xiao Xiao. In the blink of an eye, it was already right in front of her, and was ready to tear her apart. However, the moment Ji Juechen made his move, Xiao Xiao had already reacted to it. The flute in her hand suddenly released a piercing howl. Following which, her body became illusory as she split in two. Even though the sword intent had locked onto her, it went straight through her illusory figure, and did not harm her at all. After that, it was Xiao Xiao's time to retaliate. Right after the greyish-black sword intent passed through her, a jade-green image flew out of the Nine Phoenix worshipping flute and reached Ji Juechen almost instantly. Ji Juechen slashed the judgment sword upwards, and a formidable sword aura steamrolled towards the image of the jade-green phoenix. The sword aura seemed to embody justice as it collided head-on with the green phoenix. However, the unexpected happened. Instead of shattering, the green phoenix magically melted and flowed along the sides of the sword aura as it continued to travel towards Ji Juechen. That's right. It flowed like a fluid before the green phoenix splashed onto Ji Juechen's body. At this juncture, everyone had started to gain a better appreciation of the situation. Even though Xiao Xiao could not match Ji Juechen, she was probably not too far away from him. There was also an additional reason why she dared to challenge him today. It was because he was not familiar with her. In fact, not many people within Tang sect knew what soul skills Xiao Xiao possessed. After witnessing this Nine Phoenix worshipping flute soul skills, Bei Bei, Shu Sancha and the rest were all surprised. What is this soul skill? It seems like it's going to be very difficult to get away from the green light. Ji Juechen definitely experienced the difficulty firsthand. When he first saw the jade-green phoenix fly towards him, he thought that this would be an attack-type soul skill. However, he knew his guess was wrong the moment the sword aura pierced through the jade-green phoenix. He expected his sharp sword aura to shatter the phoenix upon contact. However, the soul skill did not end with its shattering. In fact, it had been agitated. The stream of jade-green light, which was very much like a viscous fluid, landed on Ji Juechen's body instantly. It seemed to have been drawn to his sword aura. However, Ji Juechen knew that it was only drawn to him because Xiao Xiao had locked it onto him. Otherwise, it would not have come straight to him. As the jade-green light melted into his body, he felt his entire body become heavier. It was as though he had just put on a 1,000-pound suit of armor, and had lost all of his agility. In fact, he even realized that his blood flow and soul power had become sluggish. It was as though his entire person had become very sluggish and slow. What a powerful soul skill! What exactly is it? This was a question which only Xiao Xiao could answer. Its name was Phoenix Seal, a sealing technique from the Nine Phoenix worshipping flute. This soul skill was very powerful because of how indestructible it was. Unless it was obliterated on all fronts, it was practically unstoppable. Once it came into contact with an opponent, he or she would be in serious trouble. The jade-green phoenix seal would stick itself to the person like cotton candy. It would require an unreal amount of soul power to dissolve. Xiao Xiao had been trying to expend Ji Juechen's soul power right from the beginning. Now that her seal had landed on him, it would only accelerate the rate at which he was forced to burn his soul power. After landing the seal on Ji Juechen's body successfully, Xiao Xiao was over the moon, and the tune which she was blowing with her flute became even more melodic. Warm halos were now being released from the Nine Phoenix worshipping flute. These halos transformed into jade-green phoenixes as they flew towards Ji Juechen. What a remarkable control-type soul skill! Everyone thought to themselves as they marveled at Xiao Xiao's technique. Xiao Xiao's Nine Phoenix worshipping flute could have been equipped with attacking-type soul skills. But from the looks of the soul skills which she had executed, all of them seemed to be control-type. This also meant that she had dedicated her entire second martial soul to control-type soul skills. It was apparent that she chose to do this for the team. As an owner of twin martial souls, her 3-live Soul Crush Cauldron was already a defense-type, control-type martial soul. If she were to only care about herself, she could have dedicated her second martial soul to attacking-type soul skills. This would have made her a more balanced soul master. But Xiao Xiao did not choose to do that. Instead, she chose to focus purely on control-type soul skills on her second martial soul. This was a team-oriented decision. Because her boyfriend, Hikaitu, was already skilled in attacking-type soul skills, it would make perfect sense for her to focus on control-type skills to complement him and improve their overall fighting power. At this instant, Ji Juechen's eyes suddenly brightened. He knew very well what kind of predicament he was in. Since Xiao Xiao did not stop releasing the Phoenix Seals, this meant that the effects of her seals could be compounded. While he remained there, Ji Juechen's aura suddenly changed. An indescribably sharp aura suddenly surged out from his body. At that very instant, even the light from his judgment sword was covered by the aura surging out from him. Ji Juechen had transformed into a long sword with an unparalleled aura exploding from his body. Xiao Xiao's eyes were blurred by the sudden outburst of Ji Juechen's aura. Following which, Ji Juechen made his move. Countless sword auras surged from his body as though they were gushing out from every pore. A faint green energy was also ejected from his body along with the sword auras. The first Phoenix Seal had been broken. Ji Juechen lifted the Judgment Sword as though he was conducting the millions of sword auras which had been released from his body. Immediately, they formed a powerful wave which swept towards Xiao Xiao. The greyish-black sword auras were like a hurricane which swept across the ground that separated Xiao Xiao and Ji Juechen. The jade-green phoenixes which stood in the way of the huge hurricane were instantly shattered as they vanished into thin air. Ji Juechen was able to turn the tables in a single move. Also, he was able to lock on his aura onto Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao's face was visibly paler. She could no longer sense her energy from Ji Juechen's body. Naturally, her methods would no longer be effective on him. Instead, she felt an unparalleled murderous intent from him. This murderous intent did not have a material form, but Xiao Xiao was certain that it existed. At that very instant, she felt as though every single pore on her body had been shut by the killing intent exhibited by Ji Juechen. The effect of the intent was so strong that her flute playing stopped momentarily. Following which, Ji Juechen made his move. He flew towards Xiao Xiao at lightning speed like a sharp sword tearing up the sky. This was Executioner's Blade, Ji Juechen's most commonly used ability. It was a soul skill which he had invented by himself. This soul skill was often able to create miracles during battles, and had an attacking power that was unparalleled by other soul masters on his level. Xiao Xiao was startled by the sight before her, but she did not step back. This was undoubtedly a wise decision. She stopped playing the 9 Phoenix worshipping flute, and instead she waved it in the air as though it were a short baton. After waving her flute, her delicate body once again became illusory. It was apparent that she had used the same soul skill which she had used to avoid Ji Juechen's previous attack. Phoenix Substitution. In addition, the 7th soul ring on the 9 Phoenix worshipping flute also started to shine. As the Executioner's blade collided with its target, once again, it only managed to slash at Xiao Xiao's illusory figure. The most powerful thing about the Phoenix Substitution was its ability to allow its user to break free from a lock-on by his or her opponent. Even Ji Juechen's sword intent could not strike Xiao Xiao. However, this time round, Ji Juechen was attacking with his own body. Hence, he stopped right next to Xiao Xiao's real body after destroying the illusory figure. The Judgment Sword's light became more intense as dense black energy instantly surged around it. As Ji Juechen released his fearsome sword aura, the air around it started to crack and shatter. Ji Juechen knew that no soul skill could be continuously executed without stopping. Hence, he launched his attack precisely at the moment when Xiao Xiao was no longer able to use her Phoenix Substitution to evade his attack. However, something unexpected happened. Xiao Xiao's body transformed into a streak of green light before melting into the 9 Phoenix worshipping flute. Following which, the flute released a bright phoenix screech as it opened its own humongous pair of green wings and transformed into a flying green phoenix. At the same time, a large green ring descended from the sky and bound Ji Juechen's body. Even though it was shattered almost immediately by Ji Juechen's dominating sword aura, it gave the Green Phoenix sufficient time to fly away. The Green Phoenix was actually the Nine Phoenix worshipping flute's martial soul true body. Once again, Xiao Xiao was able to surprise her peers with her soul skills. The flying Green Phoenix extended its wings before flapping them intensely as the sixth soul ring on its body started to glow. Following which, a green light descended from the sky. These green shadows looked like pillars from afar. However, once they landed, everyone realized that they were replicas of the Nine Phoenix worshipping flute. Every single one of them had been magnified by at least 10 times. The carvings of the Nine Phoenixes on it were particularly delicate. After landing on the ground, those pillars became frozen, as though they were structures which had been there all along. Ji Juechen's body was originally poised to chase after Xiao Xiao. The effect of these pillars was incredibly strong. After the skill was executed, there seemed to be an incredible attraction wherever the pillars covered. This force of attraction was not gravity, but sound waves. It was an unbelievably strong sound wave which was similar to the cry of a phoenix. The sound wave exploded from bottom to top within the regions where the pillars lined themselves up. Every single pillar was producing a deafening sound wave which could cause a person to lose his or her concentration. If a weaker cultivator were to find himself within the pillars, he would probably have been shattered by the sound waves. As the Green Phoenix in the sky flapped its wings again, the sound waves released by the Phoenix pillars grew in intensity. If one were to pay attention to them, one would notice faint ripples in the air. Attacking with sound waves was the Nine Phoenix worshipping flute's true trump card. All its previous soul skills used sound waves, but their use was not as apparent as the Phoenix pillars. This time around, Ji Juechen was truly bound by the sound waves, as his body trembled under their effect. The sound waves were everywhere, and there was no chance of evading them. It was the first time he was going up against an attack like this, and he could not adapt to it in time. While his body was shaking under the powerful sound waves, he was busy trying to muster the sword auras around him as he tried to free himself from the impact of the sound waves. Xiao Xiao's Nine Phoenix worshipping flute might only have 7 soul rings, but they were all 10,000-year soul rings, except for the one yellow 100-year soul ring, which she had added back during the freshman competition to help Hui Yuhao and Wang Dong'er. The reason why she used her Nine Phoenix worshipping flute instead of her 3-live Soul Crush cauldron was that everyone was familiar with her flute. At the same time, her flute granted her immense controlling power. Even Hui Yuhao's spirit eyes were not a pure control-type martial soul, but Xiao Xiao's Nine Phoenix worshipping flute was. Back then, when Elder Xian was mentoring her, he once told her how the simplest method to become a truly powerful soul master was to become the best at a certain field. Regardless of what field it was, as long as one was able to become the best in that area, he or she would possess immense power. Apparently, Xiao Xiao had subscribed to that belief, and had persisted with her decision. And reality showed that she had succeeded. By using the powerful controlling ability of her Nine Phoenix worshipping flute, she was actually able to restrain Ji Juechen. The Green Phoenix in the sky tucked its wings in, and Xiao Xiao reappeared in mid-air. Following which, a huge black cauldron appeared. When this cauldron appeared, the number of soul rings on Xiao Xiao's body increased from 7 to 8. That's right! Xiao Xiao had already attained the rank of a soul duel. Her primary martial soul already had 8 soul rings. She was now a powerful 8-ringed soul duel with the 3-live Soul Crush cauldron. As the 5th soul ring on Xiao Xiao's body lit up, the 3-live Soul Crush cauldron expanded furiously against the wind. The matte black cauldron seemed to embody immense authority as the surrounding air became increasingly dense and heavy. The cauldron seemed to have transformed into a humongous mountain as the people from the Tang sect felt the immense pressure radiating from it. The cauldron floated over Ji Juechen as it started to release a humming sound. It released countless humongous runes which started to circle around it. At this instant, Ji Juechen, who was stuck within the formation formed by the Phoenix pillars, seemed to have become frozen as he quietly stood where he was. However, his whole body had transformed into a grayish-black color. Even though the sound waves from the Phoenix pillars continued to attack him, they were unable to penetrate his defense. At this instant, Xiao Xiao felt an inexplicable sense of danger. Even though she seemed to have the upper hand over Ji Juechen, she did not feel as though she had an advantage over him. Instead, she felt very uncomfortable, as though something ominous was about to happen. Xiao Xiao released a low growl as she pointed in the direction of the cauldron with her right hand. At that instant, the three-lived soul-crush cauldron released a loud and powerful humming sound as it dropped from the sky toward Ji Juechen. A powerful black light was also ejected from the mouth of the cauldron. Endless authority descended from the heavens as the black pillar of light struck Ji Juechen ahead of the cauldron. This was the fifth soul skill of Xiao Xiao's three-live soul-crush cauldron, three-live soul-crush. It was a powerful sealing soul skill which acted directly on the body and the soul. Previously, with the help of the three-lived soul crush, Xiao Xiao was actually able to seal a powerful evil soul master and contribute to the team's success. However, the person she was facing now was Ji Juechen. The sword fanatic, Ji Juechen. A bright cry escaped Ji Juechen's mouth, following which, a matte black sword light erupted from the ground like black ink. Both the three-lived soul crush and the sword light from Ji Juechen were black. The two black forces collided with a humongous impact. Ji Juechen's figure rose up into the sky like a dragon ascending to the heavens. However, the three-lived soul-crush cauldron had vanished in that instant. That's right, it had somehow vanished. The cauldron which was falling rapidly had disappeared without any warning. However, if one were to pay attention to Xiao Xiao, one would notice the sly smile that had formed on her face. A humongous cauldron sneakily appeared below Ji Juechen's feet. The same black pillar enveloped and trapped Ji Juechen after he had exploded up into the sky with his maximum effort. Ji Juechen was caught in that moment when he had just exerted strength on a previous soul skill, and was recovering his energy for the next blow. Hence, his body froze upon contact with the three-lived soul crush as he was sealed in mid-air. A small thing that resembled a lizard rested itself silently on Xiao Xiao's shoulder. This thing seemed to be a little strange, as it looked different from a normal lizard. However, because it was hidden within a ball of dark light, no one could see its true appearance. Nonetheless, it was its existence that allowed the three-lived soul crush technique to suddenly change positions. This allowed Xiao Xiao to trick Ji Juechen into exposing himself to her attacks. After the three-lived soul crush was completed, the matte black cauldron suddenly expanded before releasing a powerful suction force. Ji Juechen was sucked into the cauldron. The eighth ring on Xiao Xiao's body lit up, and 9 humongous golden runes fell from the sky onto the cauldron. Instantly, the black cauldron was dyed a uniform golden color as it dropped to the ground. The phoenix pillars disappeared, leaving only the cauldron sparkling on the ground. The 10 golden runes on the cauldron glowed intensely in an intermittent fashion, as though they were trying to resist powerful blows from within. Xiao Xiao floated back to the ground as she looked at the commotion before her with surprise. Even though she might have beaten Ji Juechen, she knew that she had not won by ability. She was only able to defeat him because of her tactics. Ji Juechen was simply too unfamiliar with her abilities. Conversely, Xiao Xiao had watched so many of his spars with the others. Hence, she possessed a superior understanding of his abilities. Ji Juechen's final attack, his sword fanatic domain, was undoubtedly his greatest skill. Xiao Xiao's prior control was simply her way of waiting for that moment to come. When Ji Juechen launched his most powerful attack, it was also the time when he was most vulnerable to any form of attack. If he were to fail to land a blow in a single attempt, his aura and sword intent would drastically decrease. Xiao Xiao had been waiting for this opportunity all along. Of course, she understood that Ji Juechen could have directed his final attack at her instead of her three-lived soul crush cauldron. Even though he would most definitely get hurt, she would also not be able to escape unscathed. The truth was that even though Ji Juechen was a sword fanatic, he would still not put his own people in danger. Xiao Xiao raised her right hand as the three-lived soul crush cauldron transformed into a streak of light before returning to her body. A deafening sword aura flickered as Ji Juechen reappeared within the spectral demiplane. He looked slightly ragged after reappearing. There were many holes in his clothes, and his face seemed to be slightly pale. However, the spark in his eyes showed that he was actually very excited. The scariest thing about the sword fanatic was how he was not afraid of losing. In fact, the more he lost, the more excited he would become. That was why everyone had a headache when facing him. The more they tried to put him down, the more he wanted to fight them. I have lost. That was very impressive. Ji Juechen nodded as he looked at Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao shook her head and said, "No. I definitely can't compare to you when it comes to our true abilities. You only lost because you did not understand my skills well enough. Also, you chose to go easy on me instead of putting me in harm's way. When we fight the next time, I will definitely lose to you. I can sense that you haven't even released your full fighting power." Ji Juechen shook his head and said, "It's still a loss at the end of the day. I can sense that you did not go all out on me either. It would be very difficult to say who would win if we were to fight to the death. But that would only result in serious injuries for both of us." Ji Juechen's words were usually very objective. Hence, his praise had elevated Xiao Xiao to a new status. It meant a lot about Xiao Xiao's ability when she was able to hold her own against the sword fanatic. Hikaitu gaped as he stared at Xiao Xiao. "Xiao Xiao, I can't believe how strong you've become. If we were to battle within a fixed physical range, I might not even be able to beat you." Xiao Xiao waved her little fist at Hikaitu and said, "So you better watch out. If you dare bully me in the future, I'll make sure I put you down." Hikaitu gave her an awkward smile and said, "You are the one who's bullying me every day now. When have I ever bullied you? Look, you even bit me yesterday." Following which, he revealed a mark on his shoulder. Xiao Xiao's face became red as she turned and fled. The people who were listening to their conversation burst into laughter. "All right, now that they are done, it's our turn." Tang Wutong's voice attracted everyone's attention. They were confused about what she meant. Ji Juechen's eyes lit up as he leapt forward. "Yes, let's do it." Hui Yuhao laughed angrily before saying, Hey! 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 I'm not letting you fight my wife. Besides, I don't think you can withstand her blows for even a minute with the current state you're in. My wife is no pushover." As he clarified, he stepped onto the sparring ground with Tang Wutong. Bei Bei looked at him and asked, "Little junior brother, what are you trying to do?" Hui Yuhao sighed and replied, "Wutong was very inspired by what she saw, and mentioned to me how females should not be discriminated against. Hence, she challenged me to a duel." Cough. Cough. Even though a mocking look formed on Bei Bei's face, he did not dare to say anything. From the look in his eyes, he seemed to be saying, "Good luck, buddy." Shu Sancha did not seem to fear anything as he egged Hui Yuhao on, "Little junior brother, go for it. You must fight for all the men in the world." Jiang Nan rolled her eyes and said, "It seems like you're quite a chauvinist, eh? Come, fight with me." Shu Sancha shook his head fervently before saying, "No way. Forget about it. Use your sleeping technique only after we return to our room. I promise I will definitely not resist." Jiang Nan launched herself into the air as she kicked Shu Sancha. However, she was already blushing. Tang Wutong moved to the side of the sparring ground on her own. Hui Yuhao was also in no mood to care about what the others were talking about. Because he had been cultivating with Tang Wutong every day, he had a rough understanding of her ability. However, he had never faced her when she was in full fighting mode. This video will end here.